Okay, today we are learning how to slip and score two pieces of clay together. And this is probably one of the very most important skills in ceramics because if you're making something, you want it to not fall apart. And so the tools that we need are a needle tool, a fettling knife to cut our pieces, and then we need some nice fluffy pre-made slip. So here's the slip that I made earlier. You can see the texture's really nice, it's really creamy, it's well hydrated, and this slip is super important because it's our glue that holds the pieces together. So I have the clay already prepared that I'm going to be sticking together. I'm just going to take my fettling knife and I'm just going to cut a couple pieces so that I can practice putting clay together. Now, anytime I'm not using clay, I'm going to tuck a little bag over it so that it stays nice and moist. And so, even if I'm not using it right that moment, I'm still just gonna put a bag over the top so it can stay damp. So I'm gonna come over here with the pieces that I've cut. I'm wiping my knife off so that I have nice texture. And I'm going to cut them out so that they are even. Like that. And then I have two pieces that I'm going to attach to each other. Okay, so here's my pieces. That's where I'm going to connect them. Okay, and they're ready to go. I've checked my angles. Everything's just how I want it. Now, here's the trick. Anywhere clay touches clay, you're always going to score. Score is something that you do with your needle tool. So I'm going to pick up my clay and I'm going to score it in two different directions. And you can see scoring is pretty aggressive. It's pretty deep. And what I'm doing is I am increasing the surface area of the clay. And doing this, what it does is it makes it so that the clay, when it is connecting, is not doing a shallow connection, but it's doing a deep connection with all those grooves. Now, if you are worried about getting air in your clay, this is where the slip comes in, okay? The slip is going to make it so that all of those little air pockets are filled with the glue that we need to attach these to each other. And make sure that your scoring is pretty deep, okay? So that is the only thing that I use a needle tool for in ceramics is good deep scoring. And you can see it's pretty deep. Now, we score both sides, we slip one side, okay? So I'm gonna get over here into my slip container with my finger. I'm gonna get some of that slip and I'm just gonna wipe it on one side so that it's gonna hold together. Okay, so I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna line it up carefully, and then I'm gonna push it towards itself. And the way I know I've kind of pushed enough is usually you get a little bit of slip that will goosh out. Okay, so I'm taking that and I'm pushing it carefully, trying not to deform the slab that I've made. So you can see that when you push enough, you get little squishing. Now, I'm going to then support it on one side with my hand and take my other hand and smooth the connection point on the outside. And on the inside, I always like to put a little coil to reinforce it. Okay, so I'm gonna get that edge really nice and clean and smooth. Nice, nice, nice clean edge. Okay, now on the inside, you see I have that connection point, and you always want to make sure your connections are strong. And so what I'm going to do to strengthen that connection is I'm going to put a little coil right there. So I can just take some clay that I have that's left over and form it into a little coil shape, and I'm just going to put it in there. Now you can see everything I do, I'm keeping the back of my clay supported because if I don't, it'll stretch in that direction. Okay, this clay I'm not using. I'm going to wad back up into a ball so I can wedge it later and use it. Okay, so now I have this. All I need to do is blend out those connection points so that it's seamless. So that everything looks nice and clean. Okay, and we're gonna get that all nicely developed and connected and smoothed. I'll come in with a little sponge maybe just to smooth it more. I might go in with like a rib tool, one of these guys, and come in and smooth it. Okay, there's all different tools that we can use for smoothing. And that is going to be a strong connection that's gonna stay together and not come apart. And that is how we slip and score. Works really well, becomes a nice permanent connection between two pieces of clay. There we have it.